Okay, so you might think you've missed your chance to start a podcast. Maybe you found out there are over 4 million podcasts already listed. Or maybe your friends started a podcast a while back and you think you missed your chance. But what if I told you that less than 15% of the podcasts already listed have published anything recently? Pair that with the fact that podcast listeners are expected to reach 619 million by 2026, and you start to realize there's a huge demand for fresh voices like yours. Hey everybody, I'm Kelvin, and if you give me just a few minutes, I'd love to help you decide if you should start a podcast in 2025. Now, I don't need to look at the numbers to know that people are always looking for new content and new communities to be a part of. So regardless of how many podcasts there are, every host and perspective is unique. And if you're consistent enough, you'll see more audience growth than you realize. Now let's look at some very promising podcasting trends. First, according to Demand Sage, podcasts are expected to have over 584 million listeners this year alone. And that number jumps to over 650 million by 2027. Not only that, but according to a report from Edison Research, the average time spent listening to podcasts has grown by 450% over the last decade. This type of increase, especially given the growth of video content over the same period of time, is extremely promising for podcasters. Now, in addition to the high demand for new content, starting a podcast has never been easier. You don't need to worry about having an acoustically treated studio or expensive gear to record high-quality audio anymore. To give you an example, this is the ATR 2100X from Audio-Technica. I was able to pick this up on sale this week for just $48.95. It plugs directly into my laptop and I can record podcast-ready audio in seconds. So just listen to this audio quality, and I'm sitting here in my living room. The difference between a $400 microphone and a $50 microphone is getting smaller and smaller. And that's the completely unedited audio. Now look what I can do with a few adjustments. So just listen to this audio quality, and I'm sitting here in my living room. The difference between a $400 microphone and a $50 microphone is getting smaller and smaller. If you guys are interested in a more detailed breakdown of how I edited that audio, leave me a comment down below and I'll be sure to make that video happen. Now, I'm personally a huge fan of collecting equipment. Some people might even see it as a bit of a problem at this point. But all you need to start podcasting is one of the many entry-level microphones under $100, a hosting platform to get your podcast listed with different directories like Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and software to record yourself with. There's even a lot of software you can use for completely free. If you're on a Mac, GarageBand is a fantastic tool to start with. Even though it was designed with musicians in mind, the workspace is intuitive and it has everything most podcasters need to edit a quality episode. If you're on Windows, Audacity is my personal recommendation. At first glance, Audacity looks a little more intimidating than GarageBand, but once you know what you're looking at, it's very straightforward. We do have videos that show you exactly how to use both of these tools, and I'll be sure to link to them right down below in the video description. The next reason you should start a podcast in 2025 is it gives you the opportunity to network. Podcasting could even land you your next job, and Jordan is an excellent example of this. I've referenced her podcast Dreamful here on our channel a few times, and it's what led the Buzzsprout team to reach out to her about a full-time role. Or maybe you're a business owner or you work on a marketing team. A podcast can also help you network with potential clients. I used to work on a podcast called XR Industry Leaders, and it was a podcast about the innovations taking place in the AR and XR spaces. We interviewed people who had successfully implemented this type of technology, which helped us establish relationships with companies that would have a need for the type of product we were offering as they scaled their operations. It also became a great way for us to collect case studies that validated the use of this technology across different industries. So podcasting has become a great way to network personally and can even assist in business development if that's your main goal. The last reason you should start a podcast in 2025 is because at the end of the day, it's just going to allow you to connect even more with something you already enjoy. The process of researching a topic that excites you or interviewing guests who are part of an industry you're passionate about is just a lot of fun. So outside of your opportunity to network, monetize, and grow a brand, podcasting lets you dive deeper into your hobbies and interests while helping you find a community of people who share those interests. Your podcast will also impact people in ways you didn't realize were possible. For example, we started Buzzcast to support podcasters as they built out their own shows. And here's some messages we've received from the fan mail feature we added to Buzzsprout, which allows your audience to text you directly when they want to support your show or leave a question they'd like an answer to. The episode on staying motivated for podcasting really hit home. It has re-energized my passion for podcasting. That's from a listener in Georgia. I promise you the first time you receive a message like that, you'll never want to stop podcasting. The last thing I'll say is that podcasting can also just be an excuse to see your friends more. I personally started a podcast with my brother and sister recently, and it's been a great reason to meet up once a week for an hour and catch up. Also, is this podcast artwork not the most ridiculous thing you've ever seen? What I'm trying to say is I think it's really hard to see your podcast as a waste of time when at the end of the day you're having fun and positively impacting people along the way. And that's all I have for this video. I hope it helped convince you to start your own podcast in 2025. If it did, I would like to encourage you to take some real actionable steps towards launching your show today. I suggest writing down 3 ideas for the name of your show. I'll even give you a custom GPT we put together. All you need to do is write down a few sentences about the topic of your podcast, and ChatGPT will generate a list of names. It'll also give you its top 3 recommendations and check the web to see if any of those names are being used. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to comment with your biggest takeaway. And if you're new to podcasting, we have so many other resources on this channel that can help you get started. So be sure to check them out. Thank you so much for watching. And as always, keep podcasting.